To prioritize the subjects you want to include in your learning plan, you're first going to match them with your opportunities and threats. In doing so, you'll determine the best learning tactics to adopt. These tactics will be very useful in the third part of the course when you create your learning plan. You can distinguish between 4 learning tactics: offensive, defensive, preventative, and emergency. To choose your learning tactics, you're going to match the rows of your dashboard with the columns. To begin with, your offensive tactics are actions that will permit you to capitalize on your strengths in order to take advantage of your opportunities for learning. In other words, here you'll do more of what you're already good at. This is your comfort zone, and you should really encourage it to grow while further developing your strengths. Next, your defensive tactics are actions that will again allow you to capitalize on your strengths, but this time in order to manage the threats to your learning. These tactics will help protect you while also reinforcing your strengths. Next, your preventative tactics are actions that will correct your weaknesses in order to take advantage of your opportunities for learning. And finally, your emergency tactics are actions that will again help you correct your weaknesses, but this time in order to eliminate potential threats to your learning. In determining your learning tactics, think about what you've learned regarding your preferred learning styles. And also consult the learning methods list we used in the first part of the course, both for inspiration and also to choose methods you've not yet used. Once you've completed your dashboard, make sure to ask a friend or colleague to take a look at it and give you feedback. Never underestimate the value you can get from the perspectives of others. At this stage, you might be faced with a couple of problems. On the one hand, you might not have been able to think of enough subjects of study. If this is the case, don't worry and start learning anyway. You can always add more later. Or perhaps the opposite is true and you feel like you've listed way too many subjects. You might be a very curious person with a never-ending list of things you're hungry to learn. This isn't a bad situation to find yourself in at all, but it does mean you need to prioritize the subjects you've listed. If your priorities aren't yet obvious, you might like to try the following exercise. Draw a graph. The vertical axis will be impact on your strategic goal. The horizontal axis will be difficulty of a given subject for you personally. Place the subjects of study on this graph. Consider whether each will have a low or high impact and whether it will be low or high difficulty. Once you've done that, I'd recommend considering high impact, low difficulty subjects as your top priorities. Now that you have your list of study topics and an idea of your priorities, you've essentially got your learning strategy and you're ready to move forward and create your learning plan. But before moving on to the next part of the course, I'd strongly suggest you take the quiz to check how well you've understood the concepts relating to defining your learning strategy.